Now that you've gone through the basic tutorial on Audacity, I want to show you some quick steps that you can use to help save time on putting a front and a back on an audio track. To do this, I'm going to record a generic introduction and a generic ending that I'm going to use in all my audio tapes. So I'll first record this track on an audio track. Hello, this is Mickey Estes of the SOAR Network. This is the beginning of the audio. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to this audio. If you would like more information, you can go to soar.net and watch other training audios or videos. Thank you. This is the ending. Now that I've recorded this first audio, I'm going to minimize this track, and then I'm going to import the background music that I was using before into Audacity. I will then reduce this track, draw it out a little bit, and reduce the scale. And now you see we have the background track and the recorded intro and ending on the same scale. Now the trick is to get these two aligned on top of each other, just like we did before. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to this track, and I'm going to go to this point right here, and I'm going to edit, clip boundaries, split. Then I'm going to go to my move tool, and I'm going to move this track down towards the end. I'm going to move this track out a little bit, and that allows me to separate the two and then work within this background music to put these where I want them. Now that I have these split, I have the ability to move these up and down the soundtrack to find out where I want to fade in and fade out. Now with that said, I'm going to go down to the second track, and I'm going to again use my envelope tool, and I'm going to mark it here, and then I'm going to fade it down here, about like that. And then I'm going to go mark it here, and then I'm going to fade it back up, like right here. Actually, I'm going to slide this down. Run my music, mark it, fade it back down for my intro, mark it, run it back up for the end. Now like that, now I've got these separated. I'm just going to play a little bit of this so you can see what it sounds like. Hello, this is Mickey Estes of the SOAR Network. This is the beginning of the audio. Thank you for listening. Now, next thing I want to do is I realize I want to pull it back up here because I'm going to fade it in, and then I'm going to run it just for a little while because that's where I'm going to start my, fading it back out for my track, my audio track. So the audio track is going to go right in here between these two. So with that, what I want to do is I've got this in. Now let's go down on this end. We'll take this tool, go down here on the end, right here. Now hear it coming up. Thank you for listening to this audio. If you would like more information, you can go to soar.net and watch other training audios or videos. Thank you. This is the ending. So now we have the layout that we want before we split it and before we condense it. Now the final thing I want to do is I want to expand this scale and make sure the envelope, this particular envelope, is really neck down, so we're not getting any sound in between these two. And I'll just kind of put this over here. It's very low. So I'll show you how to deal with that when we get back to that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this blend that I have, and I'm going to export it. And I'm going to call it the intro / end mix. Okay? We're going to save it. We're going to compress it. We're going to say mix. Mix. I can't type. Mix. And then we'll just don't worry about the rest of that stuff. That's the YouTube library. And we're going to save that, and it's going to mix it down to a single track. And I'll show you that in a minute. All right, so I've closed down those two. Now I'm going to open up and import that file we just saved so you can see. Here it is right here, intro, end, mix. Bring it in, and I'm going to scale it down. And there's the mix of the two, the intro and the sound. So now what I want to do is I want to just come down here in the middle, and I want to just take a section of that and just delete it. And go to my edit, clip boundaries, split. So now I have the file where it's, and then move, where I can move this up and down and move this one. So now you basically have a soundtrack that has a front on it, has a back on it. And now I'm going to show you how to use this when you import it into a sermon. I'm just going to play this thing through just for a part of it for a second so you can see what it sounds like. Hello, this is Mickey Estes of the SOAR Network. This is the beginning of the audio. Thank you for listening. I should have pulled that gap up a little closer, but just to give you some idea what we've done here, how it works. It really doesn't matter how broad the gap is because you're going to use it. All right, so now you see. So I'm going to stop it, and we're going to save this file. Again, we're going to import it. I'm going to call it. I'll just call it Mix 2, just to differentiate between the first one. Let me try that again. Export, I'm sorry, I hit the wrong file. Come on, Mix 2, export, Mix 2, export, and there we have it. And now I'll show you how to use that in our next video on how to do these sound stacks and fronts and backs. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import, go to my sermon, the Mix 2 that we just did. I'm going to import that track, and I'm going to condense it down and make it small for right now. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to find that, I'm going to import audio. I'll go back to my sermons folder and find one. Let's see, that's the one I was using. Bring that in, import it in, and then we're going to see how we can do this front end and back end. So it's going to be a lot simpler than the last way we did it, where we built it on the front, built it on the back. So in this case, we're going to bring it in finally, and let me reduce that down and open that up a little bit. Now we're going to go to this, basically this, let's open up this folder just a little bit. I'm going to go to the top file right here,
Never had this teaching before, you're going to have a good.
And I'm going to select this. I'm going to select here. I'm going to go to Edit, Clip Boundaries, Split. All right, so now I can take my move function and I can move this one down. And then I'm going to go down to the second sermon. I'm going to move that right. So right where that sound comes down, the sermon starts. Then I'm going to go to the other end. I'm going to move this all the way, drag this all the way to the other side. All the way. Just sometimes it takes a while to get this done. You could reduce the screen down, but I want to be able to where I can see it better. Move it on down. Move it on down. Move it on down. And move it on down. And you bring it and just move it right in where you want it on the end, and you can really test to see where you want it. So I'm just going to test right here.
In Romans 4, 9 through 22. And I'll have some of us hand out.
So, again, I want to get it moved down a little closer. Stop it. Move it in a little bit like that. Let's go back to select.
27. Genesis 18, 1 to 33.
And then, whatever your audio is, you can just bring it in.
Genesis 21.
And then see how it works.
Genesis 22, 1 to 18.
And then here goes your recording.
In Romans 4, 9 through 22.
Thank you for listening to this audio. If you would like more information, you can go to soar.net. Now, obviously, you need a lot of tweaking because you don't want your one sound on top of the other sound, but you get the idea. You just move it in and out where you want it, so it basically the beginning sounds the way you want it to sound. Thank you for listening. But that way you have this can front and can back, so every time you're going to move your new audio in, your new sermon in, or your audio, is all you got to do is drag, split it and move it to both sides, and then you out-save it as a file. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you, a quick way to stack it and then save it and then use it. So I hope you enjoyed this and hope you watch some other tutorials and learn so you can be more productive in ministry and more productive in getting your message out. Thank you for watching. This is the SOAR Network. Mickey Estes.